Welcome. This time we're discussing weekly summary sheets. We're starting to get into the paperwork side. I think what people forget when they are an entrepreneur and they run their own business is you are the CEO, the CFO, the head of human resources. You are it. The buck stops with you. So you have to be in charge of everything that happens within your business. Now, lots and lots of times when I discuss this with Mary Kay consultants, and you'll say, now, what were your sales last week and what would you like to earn next week? They have no clue. And trust me, if you were in any other industry and it was your job and you were asked for those figures and you didn't know them, you wouldn't last very long. And sadly, it's the same in our business. If you don't know what you're making or what you want to make, you have no idea how you're going to progress and where you're going to go and how to keep a track of things. So that's what the weekly summary sheet is all about. It keeps a note of everything for you. Now, there is an e-copy on Erica's Angels on Facebook. If you go on to the section that says files, you can click on there. And that's probably the best one to do because it keeps a weekly running total of your sales. Because when you come to the end of this year, financial year, you want to be able to just take the last one and you can see your sales figures because you're going to have to tell the tax man what that is. And you also want to know what your profit is every week, what your sales are, so that you can increase it next week, or if you've got bills to pay, how much more you've got to bring in to pay for those. So it's all about keeping a track of what you're doing. So the easiest way is start on day one. So I'm hoping you're getting this within your first couple of weeks. Get into the habit of filling these out on a Sunday night once you've finished your week. Remember I said before about you have 100 days to register as self-employed? Well, it's from day one on this sheet. And if you don't register within 100 days, you actually get fined £100. So it's really silly not to do it. So, how do you fill this out? Okay, and well, first of all, why do you fill it out? Apart from all the tracking, if you send this to me on a Sunday night or first thing on a Monday morning before I go to the post office, that's when I send out recognition for things you've done. Now, one of the things about Mary Kay is every time you have a £100 day, let me know by sending me your weekly summary sheet, because I will send you out a little bee that you can put on your jacket, because we have this. The bee is a very significant symbol in Mary Kay, because whether you know it or not, a bee, his body was too big for the wings that it was given. So ergonomically it couldn't actually fly, they were too small, but nobody told the bee, so it flew anyway. And so that has become the symbol. So that's why we have diamond bumblebees when you're queen of sales or queen of recruiting for the UK. And it's why we have these little pins every week. So it's very important if you want to win things that you send this to me, because if you don't send it, I don't send them out, because I have to see it written down and then I pop them in the post. So first things first. So please put your name, your phone number, your director's name, and the week ending, so that'll be the Sunday night, and page one of however many pages there are. Hopefully there's lots, but in the beginning I'll have one. So first things, so you've got a day and time, so just put that in so that I can see, because I need to know if you've got a few appointments in a day, if they're in the same day, if they're over 100, I need to know that, because that's how I can send you the bee. Put in the name of your hostess and her guests, and telephone numbers if you've got, because if it's certainly been a really good one, I will always send a little message to your hostess and say, well done, I saw you at a fantastic party last week, and thanks for supporting Barbara on her journey as a Mary Kay consultant. Put how many hours you spent, because this will give me an indication when I'm doing training what to talk about. If you sold £10 and you were there for 6 hours, we need to talk about training. But also it's just to sort of see what your average is as well, because you want to know how much you're earning an hour. And as the Global average is £20 an hour for Mary Kay consultants. You want to be there or more. How many guests or calls? Well, put down how many there were at the party and how many orders. So if there were 5 people at the party and you'd 5 orders, that's great. It means that you really got through to everybody. If you have a party with 5 people and nobody bought, then I will just look at that and go, oh, I think we need to talk about how we can help that consultant improve on that. How many bookings, number of bookings? Because every time you go to a party, your goal is to have at least 2 further bookings from that party. Now, when I do my training, my goal is always to have everyone for a follow-up facial or a follow-up makeover. So I put that into my speech that I'm giving to them so that they know that's when it's going to happen. Because our business is not just a flash in the pan, they get a book, they buy a product, we never see them again. We are cultivating a database of customers that we want to stay with us for a lifetime. And so we do that by having another appointment. So if you do skincare the first time, do makeup the next, or vice versa. And then if there are body products, do that. When the new products come, you invite them to the open house, or you take them along to let them see. So it's about layering in to get customers for life. Number of basics sold, so that's how many cleansers and moisturizers. That's your basic set, because that's our core business. Yeah, the makeup's lovely, but the core business is cleansers and moisturizers. And once you get them on it, guess what? In 3 months' time, when they run out, they have to buy it from you. Skincare class or facial. So when you put product on someone and it's at their house and it's a skincare or makeup party, put your sales there, and it'll, on the electronic one, it adds it down at the bottom. If it's an on-the-go appointment, put that down, because you just want to see where you're making your money. On the go is when you're out and about, you meet somebody, they say, oh my goodness, have you got a mascara? I've run out. Brochure reorders or miscellaneous sales, that's when you hand someone a book when you're somewhere, or they can't come to a party but they just want to see the brochure, or they're reordering because you want to see where your new business is and your existing business. Online orders, because by now you've signed up for your free Mary Kay website. So when an order comes in online through the website, you want to notate that as well. Open house spa days. So if you do, like I do a couple of open houses a year. You can actually do one, every month if you really wanted to, but certainly every quarter when there's new products, I would definitely recommend doing it, because it's a great way to show your existing customers all the products that are out and that are brand new, because how else do they get to see them? Dovetail income expense. That a dovetail is when you get busy and you're too busy and you've double booked and you've got 2 appointments and they both hold, then you give one of them away. And there is a set system in Mary Kay whereby the customer, if you give the party away to say you give it away to one of your recruits, she does it. You keep the hostess, the original one, but they keep the guests who are at the party, and she gives you 10% of everything sold that night, and it's just as a thank you for passing on the party. Hostess gifts. So anytime that you give away gifts at a party, notate that, because that gets deducted from your profit. And any product given away, if you're just out and about, you give things away. Like I'm always giving away hand creams and things as when I'm out and about having coffees or out for lunch or doing whatever. So you can it's just to keep a good eye on your finances. So it gives you the total for the week, which is lovely, and it'll also give you the running total for the year, which is fantastic, because then you can really see what you're making. Estimated weekly gross profit, so you put in what you've sold, and then you work out your profit. We're going to assume it's 40%, because I've told you before, why would you want 30 when you can get 40? And that tells you how much, say you need money this week, that tells you how much you can spend. So if you've got 40% there, say for argument's sake, there's 200. You did a £500 order, and you did a £500 sale week, and you have £200 of profit. You know that 10% of that is going to stay for expenses. The balance you can go off and spend if you need it for something. You don't go and spend the whole 500 because it's not yours. You have to buy in the product. So the bit that really gets interesting is this bit, which is called a week's activity recap. And on there are a few things which say number of potential recruits interviewed, because if you're building your business in the Mary Kay solid way, you're selling and recruiting at the same time. Number of new recruits, that's who's joined. Number of appointments for next week. And that's really important, because if there's a 0 there, you are starting to lose your business. You should always have bookings in your diary. And sometimes it's just the hard facts of seeing a 0 that makes you go, oh my goodness, I better go and do something tomorrow. Number of classes booked for an appointment or a class. You want to have a class or a party. It's better for you. You make more money. And then it asks for what your sales were this week. It divides everything down. And it's very visual, and it makes you really see what your week has been and what it's going to be. And then if you've put any orders into the company, put them in there, because obviously that has a knock-on effect to your business as well. So that's page 1. Page 2. Now for me, this is the most important bit, because it says, Dear Director, I would like more information about the following areas. And it's things like booking, coaching, recruiting, closing my classes, customer service, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. Tick the ones that you would like to know more about. Because when you tick these boxes, I then add that into my training schedule for the month, so that I know what to train people on. Because not everybody knows how to do brochure sales or how to close your class. Because I'm sorry, if you go and do a Mary Kay appointment and don't close down your class at the end, you're going to lose money. And I want you to be successful. So tick the things that you're interested in. And this is also important, next week's goals. Write down what you would like to achieve in sales, because we can write our own check, so we can decide exactly how much money we're going to make next week. So write down what you'd like, and it's so important, because it's amazing the power of writing something down and seeing it. How many facials you could do, how many bookings, and it goes on and on. And then once you've got all those figures, you can also work out what your weekly gross profit is, how many hours you worked. And then at the bottom, you find out exactly how many or how much you have made per hour. Because then if you're really in a business that's, more than minimum wage, or, if you do a 5-hour class and you've got £200 of profit, that's a £40 an hour. So really, you've really got to be aware of the figures and how it impacts on your business. And finally, last thing, new or prospective recruits. And in here, if you've interviewed them or if you've recruited them, put their name and their address and telephone number, or if you're actually going to see them, put that down as well. Because what happens when you speak to them, if things don't go the way you want, I will happily send them a little note or a wee message and just say thank you very much for having a career coffee with so-and-so. If there's any extra questions, and we'd love to invite you to our guest event or whatever it is, because these are things that I keep a note of. And even you'd be amazed how many you'll forget, and I'll go to you, now what happened to that lady that you saw on blah, 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 and you'll tell me, oh my goodness, I forgot about her. So this is a really good tool for tracking your business financially and customer-wise. Because the other thing about keeping a note of all your customers that you've seen is we have this fantastic system in Mary Kay, which is 2x2x2, which is 2 days after you've seen them, you phone them to make sure everything's okay with their skin, that they've got no problems, do they have any extra questions, and then you go to see them within 2 weeks to do either the makeup or the skincare, depending what you did the first time. And then you file these away, because in 2 months' time, you pull out the one that was 2 months ago and you call all these customers and just say, I'm just putting in my Mary Kay order. I'm just wondering if you're running out of anything or likely to in the next few weeks. And if so, I'll pop it on my order. And that's how you get your reorders. So, same As usual, if you have any questions, you know that you can just give me a call. Get these into me on a Sunday night or a Monday morning at the very latest, because I do all my posting for the previous week on a Monday. So you should get any awards or anything that you've won on the Tuesday after you've popped this to me. Try not to miss them, because you miss all the goodies. So go fill them out. Any questions, give me a shout. Catch you later.